I'll call to order the regularly scheduled board meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, September 11th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Trustee Cavey. Trustee Crowley.
Here.
Trustee Gillis. Trustee Ivan.
Here.
Trustee Killelea.
Here.
Trustee Kreis.
Here.
Mayor LaRue.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence for all those that lost their life on this fateful day 18 years ago. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there any members of any village commissions or committees here tonight? Rita.
Rita Starkey, Ethan Wilson, and Francis Walker, if you want to know.
That's right. Yeah. Jean?
Jean Bartecki, the Beautification Committee, the Safety Committee, Keep Looking Beautiful, and Friends of the Library.
Any members of any local organizations here tonight? Okay, thank you all for coming. At this time, I'll open the floor to public comment. If you'd like to be made a matter of public record, please stand, state your name and address, and please use the microphone. Jean.
Today, we had some little weirdos vandalize 3 of the flower boxes right over here. I got some pictures for those who haven't seen them. It's just disheartening because the Beautification Committee, Bob and I and my husband, we worked really hard in putting these out there. And we worked hard to keep them up, and we monitor them daily. And they have this happen. It's just disheartening. So I hope, I don't know if they have cameras over there or what, but I hope maybe they can figure out who did it and chew them out. So I'll bring these up there and you guys can take a look at them.
It's a real shame. There was an incident after school at Bremen as well. I'm not sure if they're the same kids or not. Chief Delaney can...
Well, John said that it was he saw them this morning at 9.
Oh.
So they started off this morning because it was before we noticed it on our way over to the ceremony today.
Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Tony, and my uncle is currently under contract to purchase a gas station in the village of Midlothian on 147th and Pulaski, and I'm here today to ask for a liquor license and also have that liquor license be classified eligible to apply for video gaming within the BP gas station on 147th and Pulaski. And I want to see the feasibility of that project and how I should go about that.
You would actually work with Maria, Deputy Clerk Clackey, to set up a meeting with myself and Chief Delaney. So I'll just speak with Maria and we'll set something up and we'll sit down and talk. Okay,
perfect. So this idea of the gaming and everything there was feasible, correct, within the city laws and everything?
Yeah, we'll have to sit down and go through the right channels and the paperwork and the background checks and all that stuff. So
okay.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, and you have to go through the process to see. Can't make that statement just right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Just get with Maria.
And sir, I would also encourage you to review the village code, sir. You might want to take a look at the village code under the liquor requirements for the village of Midlothian. That'll give you some guidance.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. I'll close the floor to public comment and move on to tonight's consent agenda. On tonight's consent agenda, we have number 1, approval of ordinance 2039 for the amendment to the current CalSAC Enterprise Zone subject to the Enterprise Zone Act of the State of Illinois and the proposed modifications to the CalSAC Enterprise Zone intergovernmental agreement. Number 2, approval for firefighter Steve Gorski to attend an advanced technician firefighter training class at the Romeoville Fire Academy on December 2nd through December 6th for the cost not to exceed $525. Number 3, approval of repairs by Global Emergency Projects to engine 2743 of the fire department not to exceed $3,300. Number 4, approval to purchase 40 police radios from Motorola Solutions with the cost being deferred for 1 year from the purchase date and then financed over a 5-year term with an annual cost of $43,084.18. Number 5, approval to engage Robinson Engineering to provide the Phase 1 stormwater engineering study of Belly Button Hill area for the cost not to exceed $24,876. Number 6, approval to engage Robinson Engineering to provide the Phase 1 stormwater engineering study of Bremen Heights area for a cost not to exceed $24,876. Number 7, approval to amend the village's subscription agreement with Diligent Corporation to add Board Docs Pro Plus service for an additional annual amount of $8,000. Number 8, approval of the committee meeting minutes for August 21st, 2019. Number 9, approval of board meeting minutes for August 28th, 2019. And number 10, approval of list of bills. Is there any item any trustee would like off the consent agenda tonight? Seeing there's no objections, I'm looking for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda as a whole.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Fantastic. We'll move on to trustee business. Trustee Grace.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a number of updates. First of all, I attended the Calumet Stormwater Collaborative meeting at the Metropolitan Planning Council on Friday. And once again, Midlothian was featured in a rather lengthy presentation. There was a presentation, Calumet Soils and Stormwater Design, Update on Research Outcomes in Process, from Professor Mary Pat McGuire from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, Margaret Scheinerman, and then Drew Phillips, Dr. Drew Phillips, the geologist from the Illinois Geological Survey. And this is related to the soil studies that they're doing in Midlothian and in Calumet City. And again, Midlothian is a rock star in everybody's eyes in that room. And the room was packed. They did not have enough chairs. So I was, again, proud to be there, proud to represent Midlothian. A number of meetings coming up. Next Thursday, the 19th, we will have our monthly Natalie Creek Trail Steering Committee meeting at 11 a.m. And a number of you are on that steering committee, Helen, Chris, Theta, so make sure you're there. Following that meeting, we will have our monthly Keep Midlothian Beautiful board and steering committee meeting at noon. And 5 of you in this room are on that committee. So I look forward to seeing all of you at that meeting as well. And in the Keep Midlothian Beautiful theme, myself and Helen have started visiting businesses related to the Cigarette Litter Prevention Grant Program. And I have to say that it's going very well. Would you agree, Helen? We are starting to deploy our cigarette butlers from Philip Morris and the cigarette chimneys. So that process is underway. It's going to take us quite a while to make all the visits, but we have started. And everybody is, again, continues to be excited about Keep Midlothian Beautiful. And then mark your calendars, because we do have the Natalie Creek Trail Public Open House meeting on September 26th. It's a Thursday evening in this room starting at 6:30, so that residents can join us, find out what this proposed trail is all about, talk to the committee members, and talk to the engineers. And resident input is very, very important. So if anybody's around, department heads, I would invite you as well. Come in, see what this is about. Your input is important. And last but not least, I'm going to continue to push for Recycle Rita out there, our textile drive on Continue to collect your clothing, your textiles, whether they're ripped, your one socks, your one gloves, your shoes. We will be collecting those at the Fall Festival on October 27th, and we hope to collect 1,200 pounds of clothing and shoes. And that is all I have this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Ivan?
Thank you, Mayor. I just got two little things. I don't know how many people were able to attend the new phone system training classes that we had. If you haven't, I got a hard copy of the shortcut menu if you need it for how to use the new phones.
I emailed it all to the department heads too. They should all have it on email.
Okay.
The training worked because Treasurer Britton was able to help me with my phones.
Excellent. Most excellent. All right, the only other thing I had is the village is migrating to a new meter reading software, which created some delays in collecting the meter reads throughout the village. And because of this, the September bills were mailed late. Bills for Area 3, which is basically the residential areas, were sent out on Monday. So residents should receive their bills in the next day or two if they haven't already received them. Bills for businesses were sent out today, and those customers should receive their bills soon, hopefully before the end of the week. And that's it for me.
But we extended the due date just as a courtesy because of the mess-up. So.
Yes. It's 20 days, 27 days from the day it goes out, or?
I think it's
21.
21 days.
Thank you, sir. That's it?
That's it?
Trustee Kilby?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Crowley?
Just a couple things. Trustee Cavney asked if I would make sure that everyone saw the changes that she had for the massage parlor ordinance and the changes that Chief Delaney and I had discussed also. I wasn't sure if they were on the...
They were included in the final
in the new
document
one?
that I'll sign.
That you'll sign, okay. All right. And the only other thing that I have this evening is we did migrate to the new phone system last week. As expected, there were a couple of glitches, but I'm happy to say that it seems that everything was corrected quickly, and the only two outstanding problems is one, the ringer for the fire department on the apparatus floor isn't working properly, and after discussing it with Proven and with Chief Hotwegger decided it was better to just order a new ringer, which he had in his budget to the tune of under $320. So that should be here. Did it arrive today?
It's here today.
Okay.
I'm bringing it tomorrow.
They're going to put it in. And the only other issue still unsolved is there was a problem with the fax number transport over. I believe they put up the old system still until that's corrected, but that's all I have.
Okay, move on to department heads. Chief Hotwegner.
Mr. Mayor, just a couple of things. I'd like to first thank everyone who was able to attend the 9/11 ceremony this morning. They went very well. Second, I'd like to thank the Elks Club in Crestwood. Every year they do a luncheon, and they invite all the first responders, police and fire, our police department, fire department, both there. They do it every year, and they give us things from kids that read little notes for us and pictures and stuff like that. So it's very nice. They do it every year. And lastly, the firefighters will be out in the corners this weekend, Friday and Saturday, collecting for MDA for the boot from 9 to 4. 147th and Pulaski and 147th and Cicero. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Chief Delaney.
Yes, Mayor. And what he said, thank you to the Elks Lodge for putting on a nice spread for us and for all the kids that wrote some nice letters and cards to us. That was anything they can do for us every year. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Superintendent Weiner.
Just a couple things. The Park District started its demo, so he knows. Tomorrow I hopefully have the final report date for the public aid building in Markham for 60 days for demolishing the building is up. Okay, so then after that, the village will be giving permission for the demolition. We'll put Karen and land bank and see about what we can do about keeping the building down. The nail school across the street, they started a demo, but they still disconnected the electric.
And actually, I did get an email from Russ Ryden late this afternoon saying that he's been working with ComEd, and is there something the village could do? And I forwarded it to Superintendent Sperry so he can work his magic. Because he's always working magic on everything. Okay?
All right, well, if you want to call ComEd and tell them to be slated for demolition, they send a crew. If you have any storms, it's a different story. If you have any storms, there shouldn't be a reason why they're too busy to come here and let the go.
And it's the only thing holding up the sheriff from starting the demolition.
I know they have a ticket number for that, probably.
I will check with Russ,
That's a big
okay?
deal with them.
A ticket number? Okay, I will email Russ.
And then, so everybody knows, they know that the remodel's going on at Harris. KFC has submitted plans, they're off review, they're going to remodel for their new corporate identity. And we also, this week, received plans for Burger King to also remodel for their new, I'll say, corporate identity. So people know that companies are putting money back into Midlothian and not the store. So
Thank you, sir. That is good news. Superintendent Sperry.
Just one update on the Midland Creek project. We're expecting that last parcel to be acquired within the next couple of weeks, 4300 Ken. They're finishing up the footing on the north side of across their culvert, and we'll start the south side next week. Probably for 2 weeks to start putting on the culvert. They're hoping to be done with Foster for the most part in about 4 weeks. Then we'll move on to the and that's it.
Thank you, sir. Engineer Nagel.
I already got one update. Last meeting I told you about, we were trying to set up a meeting with Cook County Highway Department to get authorization to put the pedestrian crossing at the railroad tracks here. And the meeting is set up for Tuesday. And I've asked the mayor to attend, and the mayor agreed to attend. Mr. Sperry's going to attend, Mr. Huss is going to attend, and I'm going to attend. And we're also going to get some information from RTA, how they are going to support it. We're going to try to talk to Cook County Highway Department into letting us have a pedestrian crossing there. So we'll get an answer yes or no relatively soon on it. If we get an answer no, we need to document all the efforts the village went to protect the residents in case of an accident in the future. So,
I have a question for Engineer Nagel. Do we know when we'll get sign off on the funding from the CDBG DR grant?
It worked. Okay, last week, and I'll stand up, so maybe what happened with that. So, Dominic Tosi, who is in charge of CDBG DR, asked us to prepare a schedule for it. And their schedule is a 12-month schedule. They have a rule you got to spend the CDBG funds within 12 months. And we don't think it's been possible because they put this extension of $200,000 on there to do some construction work. So what he wanted us to think about is that let's get the design done and let's do some construction work. Well, the timing of the design is not going to allow that to happen. So what Mr. Sperry and I decided is that let's do something where we get some value out of this. Let's do some televised cleaning of the storm sewers. It's always been something in the recommendation we always said, televised cleaning. So by televised cleaning, we make an assessment of storm sewers. We can see the actual diameters, the slopes, and the capacities. And then if there's any money left over, we'll do the emergency repairs associated with it. That schedule is an 18-month schedule. It's going to take 6 months to clean all that sanitary, all the storm
sewers, right.
So with that, we sent the schedule to Mr. Tosi, showing this is an 18-month job, and asked him for his response on it. If he says it's got to be spent within 12 months, we need to come up with a plan C. I don't know what plan C is.
We may not be able to spend all that money in 12 months. It's just not realistic.
It's an anomaly. They gave you more money than what we asked for.
Right, but and I know that they've got to spend that money, the FEMA money, within an X amount of time. Right. They did get an extension, correct?
Correct. As he said, the cutoff date was July of 2019. His last email he sent to us was that they're going to get the extension. He said he's sorry I couldn't get back to you sooner, I didn't get the extension.
Okay.
That's what his email said. So we are working on that, but in order to do this way we want to do, as soon as we get approval on it, we'll go out to bid for televised and cleaning. Then 6 months televised and cleaning, that's a month to get a report, and now you got to start doing the emergency repairs. Right. And we think the cost estimate for televised and cleaning could be maybe $100,000, $150,000 of the $200,000. you know, $50,000, we don't want to leave on the table. We want to do the emergency repairs that we identified.
Right.
That's what the plan is.
And that's exactly why I wanted it referenced in those phase ones and these new plans, just because I know how important that televising is. It was identified in the stormwater management capital plan. So
Right.
let's hope we get the extension.
Okay.
And I'm sure Superintendent Sperry has got everything crossed, hoping we get the extension.
Well, we've got 2 extensions for regular CDBGs and resurfacing jobs, so it's happening.
Okay, great, thank you. Thanks for the update.
Thank you, sir. Treasurer Britton?
I have nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Clerk Kolacki? Attorney Valadez?
Yes, the board has up for approval today the final copy of the massage establishment, Chapter 20 amendment to the village code.
Actually, is it the final copy?
Well, yes, the copy that I'm going to go through right now will have a few changes that were proposed by both the police chief and trustee Katie. So I can go through where those are. Let's see, in the introductory piece, a non-substantive addition was to add an overnight accommodation. The words "an overnight accommodation" will be in the directory port of the ordinance. Those provisions were in the prior, just wasn't in the directory part. With regard to 5-20-3, the application for massage establishment's business license, the words "non-refundable background check fee" has been added per the police chief recommendation that the cost of the village to do the background checks on the applicants probably would exceed the $100 licensing fee. So there'll be a non-refundable background check fee added to the application fee.
Of $100?
Of $100, yes. And in addition to that, that is separate from the fingerprinting, because the chief told me that it costs the village $15 to have the state police do fingerprints.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an additional fee added onto it. So for however many fingerprint checks there are, that would be added to the $100 non-refundable, whether they get the license or not.
So you're saying that for each background check, it would be $100 plus 15 in addition to the licensing fee?
It would be $100 for each applicant.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and then in section 5-20-4, down in C, the word "outside the state of Illinois" was added to make it clear that any violations contained in there that would make it deniable, any deniable violations that would exclude them from getting a license, that would include violations outside of the state of Illinois also. In E, same section, the applicant has had a massage business, massage therapy, or other similar permit or license revoked or suspended by the village or any other state or local agency within 10 years prior to the date of the application. That was pursuant to trustee Caveney. It was 5 years. The whole structure of the requirements and disqualifying violations is to ensure that the village is not subject to court challenge on making it impossible for legitimate massage therapy practitioners to get a license. Everything we do in terms of blocking what we believe to be this, the underground seedy massage therapists cannot go past the point of blocking legitimate massage therapy. It's an industry, it's a profession, it's licensed by the state, so we have to have reasonable criteria. That's where the vulnerability is in any municipal ordinance when you're trying to regulate adult uses, not to cross any constitutional lines. So trustee Caveney believed that 5 years was too short a period. It was set at 5 years to ensure that we don't disqualify legitimate therapists, but in my legal opinion, 10 years is not unreasonable, given that we're talking about violations that directly affect the license. E. Trustee Caveney preferred the language "shall provide clean" rather than "shall be provided." I agree, it sounds better.
Where's that at?
That's in section 5-20-11D. It said "shall be provided." She preferred "shall provide." I agree, it sounds better, but that was how the other municipalities phrased it. I liked Trustee Caveney's wording better. And okay, in 5-20-18, sale or transfer or change of location, Trustee Caveney brought up the fact that it may take longer than 60 days to be able to review and do background checks on new owners. And so therefore, the 60-day period has been changed to 90-day. That makes it consistent with the earlier 90 days upon receipt of an application that the licensing department would have to review and provide an answer. So it actually is better because it makes it consistent. And that's it.
I think 5/20/14, the hours of operation?
Yeah, 5/20/14, that's correct.
The hours.
The hours had been in the original ordinance between 7 and 10 p.m. We've changed it from 8 to 9 p.m. And again, the reason that we can't...
Wait, say that again?
8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
8 a.m. they can open, they must close by 9 p.m. The original ordinance, I believe, had 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And the reason that we have to give some ability for them to have after-work hours is because they have an appointments. It's not an instant service or product that we're talking about where you can go in at 8:59 and get or 7:59 and get your product. You have an appointment. It takes a half hour or an hour to get your massage, and so 9 o'clock seemed reasonable for that. And again, it keeps us from running afoul of having legitimate massage therapists question that we've essentially eliminated the hours in which they can provide their profession.
Are you okay with that? I think Chief Delaney's email said that...
You wanted 7.
7 p.m., stop at 7 p.m. You think that's too early?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's yeah. Again, we have to view this as regulating legitimate massage places. If we view it as trying to say that we're trying to eliminate massage parlors involved in prostitution, that's when we get challenged, because you have legitimate people or even illegitimate people who are saying that these restrictions are unnecessary. This particular ordinance, I think, is a game changer for how you get a license in Midlothian. I sent each trustee the Tribune article doing some background on the condition or the state of these kinds of places throughout the country. There's over 9,000 believed to be questionable massage places, sexual-oriented businesses that are doing exactly what we've encountered in Midlothian, which is getting legitimate licenses and then bringing people in under the legitimate license to engage in illegal activities, including living and having foreign women who are brought into the country for human trafficking purposes, who have a debt to the owners and are required to work not as massage therapists but as sex workers. It's a real live problem in this country. The Illinois legislature is probably going to be coming out with more restrictive language. As of right now, our ordinance provides that if there's a disagreement or a conflict, that the massage therapist ordinance of the state applies. I believe that will, as this ordinance gets older, bring into play more restrictions, more restrictive activity, because I think the state is going to start doing more. The conditions that the fire chief, the building superintendent, and the police chief found on a couple of businesses in Midlothian are almost identical to what has been described in New York and in other places of the country. People living, mattresses on the ground, food utensils. This ordinance narrowly defines those activities as being regulated and prohibited. So anyone who has a legitimate massage therapy business in Midlothian should have no problem with getting a license and being able to be successful in their business. The problem is going to come in if you try and do illegal things and if you start adopting the pattern of other individuals who have been arrested and challenged for running illegal sexual businesses.
And this applies to all, even the current ones?
Even the current ones. What will happen is that once the board passes this ordinance, if it's this evening, there would be a period in which we would provide notice to the current holders of licenses that they have a certain amount of time, a reasonable amount of time to conform their businesses to the new ordinance. And obviously, we'll re-inspect them to make sure that they are in compliance. And I would also note that this ordinance, unlike the current ordinances regulating massage parlors, allows the police department, the code enforcement department, and the health department of the village to go in regularly and inspect for compliance. And I think that is the deal breaker for anyone who wants to run a sexually oriented adult business in these places.
Okay.
So C 1, 2, 3, and 4 are okay? I mean, they can have a license if they commit any of these?
C.
In section,
Oh, I'm sorry, 520-4, C 1, 2, 3.
520-4.
I mean, to me, I would look at this and go, well, that should be prohibited no matter what.
Okay, this.
Unless it fines.
Yes.
Unless what?
Unless it, did you see how it reads?
Here,
I read
down
it
here.
twice. No.
Yeah, unless it finds it hasn't been, here, it's up here.
No, read this section that starts it.
Yeah.
Establishment described in this chapter are met unless it finds all of those, any of those.
Right, except that if they haven't done it for 10 years, they're fine. Which to me is absolutely nuts.
It's because we cannot simply say that once you've been convicted of a crime, that you can never have a license again.
Why? You can't work at a school if you do that. Why should you be able to do that?
Well, there's no case law or authority that would allow us to do that, and that's what we'd be subject to challenge on that.
Really? Do you think
Yes.
we get a challenge on that if we let people who or sexual misconduct?
Are you saying not one business owner in town has never been convicted of a crime? You're saying every business owner in town has never been convicted?
A felony, one of these.
Keep in mind, trustee, that these individuals would have to have a massage therapy license. The state of Illinois would have already had to have given them a license.
Yes.
And that's why the village is subject to the same kind of restrictions that the state is in licensing them. So,
so the state can give them a license if they've done any of this?
yes, yes.
Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, in certain jobs, you're one and out.
Certain jobs.
I mean, you just are. In certain jobs, you're just one and out. And massage therapy is just one of them. Sexual misconduct or using the force or violence upon another person. Those two things, I think, are the deal breakers there. The other two, maybe, but the first two have definitely something to do with how you can conduct a business as a massage therapist, and 1 and 2 should be a deal breaker.
Again, the only way that an individual would be able to apply for a license would be if the state did their background checks.
Right.
And approved it. So that's why we are adding even more specific requirements that the state doesn't have. And once we start running afoul of having restrictions that the state recognizes as not being a disqualifier, that's where we get the challenge.
Do we know that's what the requirements of the state are?
Well, it's kind of a reverse to say it. Can you get a license in the state if you've had this provision? And the answer would be yes, you can. again, as a matter of fact, the state of Illinois just recently passed legislation which could have the potential of being brought up because of our restrictive prior arrest record, allowing individuals who have been arrested and have previous convictions to limit an employer's inquiry into that.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't apply directly to here,
Right.
but it's an example of the state wanting to give people an opportunity to reform and to rehabilitate. And that's why we have to have these kind of restrictions, I guess, or limitations on the restrictions is a better way to say it. But I am very confident that it is going to be very difficult for anyone who has been involved in illegal activity to get a license in Midlothian to open up a massage therapist.
With that said, I'm looking for a motion to approve ordinance 2040, amending Title V of the Village Code, business regulations to add Chapter 20 to regulate massage establishments.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Is there any other discussion? Was that a discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
No.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir, for making this a priority, and that was quite the quickest we ever got an ordinance done in history. Anything else?
Yes, a couple of the trustees and the mayor have stated that they are available, and we have issued a notice that has, I'm not sure if it's gone out yet, but that the notice of public hearing on the use and sale of cannabis in the Village of Midlothian under the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act. A hearing will be held on Monday, September 23rd, 2019 at 6 p.m. in the Village Hall, Council Chambers. And this is for the trustees and the mayor to get some input from residents on what the law should be or what the ordinances should be with regard to the sale of recreational cannabis in the Village of Midlothian. Specifically, the two positions that the village must take before January 1st is whether they will allow the recreational sale dispensaries in Midlothian and whether they will allow on-site consumption type lounges in the Village of Midlothian. So municipalities all around the county, and I would say all around the state, are now doing their due diligence and contacting their residents, providing website responses, SurveyMonkey solicitations, as well as public hearings, just like Midlothian is scheduled. So we're about on track, but obviously we have to get going, because if the board decides that they are going to allow dispensaries, we're going to have to draft regulations and zoning provisions for where those would be.
What time did you say that was?
6 p.m. on September 23rd. And the last item that I have...
Mayor, can I just ask, are you sure everybody's available for that?
Is what?
Are you sure everybody's available for that time slot?
I am not sure.
Pardon me?
I am not sure, but we can always have a second one.
Mondays are a little tough for me, I guess, but if everybody else could come, I could swing it, but I just want to make sure that all the trustees could be there, because I think that's a pretty important hearing.
Can we do it at 7? Would 7 be better?
Well, 7 would be better for me, but...
That's the board's prerogative.
I'm fine with 7, if everybody wants to do 7.
This has already been sent to the newspaper. So
okay.
It's already
It's a little
posted,
late
it's already
tonight,
posted, yeah. Okay.
And again, the idea for that, trustee, is that residents will come in, they may advocate, they may comment, they may provide evidence to you, they can express whatever their position is on those items.
Right.
The last item I have is that that it looks like there's going to be a walkthrough for the RFQ, and that is going to be at 2 p.m. Monday, this Monday. Joe will be here, I think the building superintendent will be here, and any individuals who have applied or who have an interest in providing a request for qualifications, present their qualifications to the village, we'll be able to ask Joe any questions and take a look at the Public Works building and take a look around Midlothian to see how they want to provide their proposal. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Under my business, I was reached out to by the Swallow Cliff chapter of the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, informing me that the week of September 17th through the 23rd is a Constitution Week, so they asked if we would read this proclamation and sign it. So with that, I will read the proclamation. September 17th through September 23rd, 2019, whereas it is the privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate September 17th, 2019 is the 232nd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America, with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designated September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Gary LaRue, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the village president of the Village of Midlothian, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American citizen with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves, in witness thereof. Thank you all. I gotta sign it, right? This time I'm looking for a motion to approve the Fire and Police Commission appointments of Joe Jones, Warren Sperry, and Joe Petrizzo.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killian.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item was precipitated by a new restaurant moving into town called Don Juan's. And they would like a full bar. So at this time, I'm looking for a motion to approve ordinance 2041, amending Title 5, Business Regulations, Chapter 6, Liquor Regulations of the Village of Midlothian Code to increase the number of Class A liquor license by 1. So that's from 20 to 21. Maria?
Yes.
Yes. Looking for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Killian.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Let's see. Bremen's Homecoming Parade is next Friday, right? The 20th? Friday, September 20th. Leaving Bremen High School at 3:30. There's a map here that I can show you. It goes through over by Central Park School, back to 149th, 149th back to Springfield, and then back to Bremen. So there's a loop in the neighborhood. They didn't want to cross 147th anymore. So I will be there. Please take the time to support Bremen High School if you have the time. I did receive a letter from Midlothian Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 2580, okaying the replacement of the split rail fence on the northwest corner of their property. Let's see, Midlothian Park District is hosting the annual Fall Fest, Saturday, October 12th from 10 to 12. I'll keep that in my folder. Aunt Martha's is having their annual fundraiser, September 19th, from 6 to 9 at Marcello Restaurante, 1235 West Lake Street, Chicago. I have the information here for anyone that's interested. I believe that is all I have tonight. Clerk Moscow?
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Seeing as there's no further business coming before the board, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I will make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, meeting adjourned. All right, so that one's approved.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
This is the part of the
They would do it, yeah, they would do it right there.
Right. I actually read that a little differently. Because it says may, I thought, no, in our ordinance, it says you may consider, but it doesn't say you have to.
So it happens
But here, no.
So
That's really-
that ordinance is effective immediately for the spouse?
It is not, we have to publish it, because
Because I didn't read it myself, I read it.